little
You
kind
want
of
me
thing
to?
as people join.
Well, I could do that. But
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I'd be leaving you out. I mean,
That's all right.
I mean, it's not like this is just a Piano Man Steve show. This is a special event. Oh, hi, everybody.
Is anybody on? It's weird. I can't see the comments. Okay, it doesn't let me switch from private chat to comments.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Maybe you should go away and come back in and see if it works. Yeah, we have some folks. Hi, everybody.
That is odd. Yeah, I'm going to go and come back.
All right, Kevin will be back. We're still working out the technical part of all of this. How's everybody doing tonight?
There we go.
All right.
Now I can see it.
See?
Still can't highlight it, obviously, but that's all right.
That's all right.
Yeah.
And we don't need any private chat. We have no secrets from these people.
No, not at all.
Not during the next 90 minutes.
No. We should have just had this going live the past half hour that we were on doing the real show.
No. It turns out we do have some secrets from these people.
Yeah. Sorry, my dog is at the door. He's the biggest pain in the ass. But we love him. You hear him barking? I don't know if it picked it up.
Ron. Little
It is
Ronnie.
Ron, what are you doing? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
You hear that?
Little Ron Swanson.
Yeah. He's getting worse and worse with age.
Yeah. Well, and also you kind of besmirched him a little bit. You
A little
had
bit.
Children.
Yeah. That's all right. He lives like a king, always has, and always will. And he gets more and more neurotic and anxious every day. He takes after his dad.
Yes. I bet he's also a hypochondriac and a germaphobe.
Hi, Bill. Hi, Al. Hey, Sean.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Sorry, guys. I should have been thinking to do that. Bill Hasty, good to see you. Al, I think Bill's joining us from over by St. Louis, and Al's joining us from the beautiful Hawaii. Sean's here from, I think, New York. So, nice. Well,
What were we
Kevin,
talking about, Steve?
Oh, we were talking about cameras and gear and
Yeah, really exciting
the art
stuff.
of live streaming, and we're talking about stuff that that honestly was starting to bore me, and when I do this for a living, so we definitely should dive in as deep as possible for these poor folks that don't do this for a living. So, yeah.
Anything new that you've heard music-wise that, or maybe that you've rediscovered after not listening to for a while, and you're like, oh man, that's good, or that's shit?
Yeah. Well, I haven't had any that shit moment yet, but I have kind of been diving into, my passion in life is great songwriters, and I've been exploring the music of Jimmy Webb for the last couple of weeks, and just put out a Jimmy Webb song that Glenn Campbell had one of his first big hits with, kind of his signature song, last night, called Wichita Lineman.
Yeah.
We'll probably do that tonight at some point. But
That's a good song.
yeah. So I'm kind of Jimmy Webb's an interesting writer. He's got he puts together these really, really ethereal chord progressions and then writes lyrics to match it. It's very romanticized stuff, but it's kind of cool. I like
So
it.
you're going to start with that one?
I could. Do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
I think I started last time, so you can start. I'm actually going to share this to my Facebook page.
All
I've
right.
done that.
That sounds like a fair enough trade.
Cool.
Let me get you off the screen here. Yeah, so Hi, everybody. Welcome to Talkin' Piano, man. So as we were talking about, I've been kind of paying attention to the music of Jimmy Webb, and really enjoyed putting this one together yesterday. This was one of Glenn Campbell's 2 or 3 big signature songs, and we'll see what we can do with it. Oops. Okay. I only did it yesterday, so of course I've already forgotten how to play it. Here we go. I'm a lineman for the county, and I drive the main road, searching in the sun for another overload. I hear you singing in the wire, I hear you calling through the wine, and the Wichita Lineman is still on the line. And oh, I need a small vacation, but it don't look like rain. If it snows, that stretch down south won't ever stand the strain. And I need you more than want you, and I want you for all time. And the Wichita Lineman is still on the line. I need you more than want you, and I want you for all time. And the Wichita Lineman is still on the line. Thank you.
Nice.
You know what I love about that song, though, most is I have never, ever, like, who the hell could make a telephone repairman sound like a romantic lead in a, like the lead in a romantic drama and a hero? But that's what I love about that song. And it's kind of, I was thinking about this earlier today. I was like, man, having lived through the COVID lockdown, those guys kind of are heroes. I mean, if you think about what life would have been like during all of that, if we hadn't had dudes out, maintaining, fiber optic cable and phone lines and electric lines and all of that stuff, is like the rest of us all kind of got to live a decent standard of life, because all that stuff was already out there. And so this guy is like, Baby, I'd like to come home, but I can't because there's telephone lines that need to be repaired. They'll never withstand the overload.
Yeah. What are other songs that he's written? Because I'm not too familiar with his catalog of music.
He wrote MacArthur Park.
Okay.
He wrote, you know that beautiful tune that Art Garfunkel sang that I sent you?
Yes.
It's called All I Know. He wrote that.
But did he record Wichita Lineman? Or was it Glenn Campbell that recorded that? Okay, that's
right.
what I thought.
But see, Jimmy Webb came along in the late 60s and had like a bunch. He had like a big string of hit songs as a writer. And then he kind of tried to become a recording artist. And it just never really took off for him. But he's just got a really, really unique writing voice. Like you can just kind of feel it. The Fifth Dimension did a song called, I think, Up, Up, and Away that he also wrote. He wrote 3 hits for Glenn Campbell. He wrote Galveston, he wrote Wichita Lineman, and he wrote one called When I Get to Phoenix.
Oh, I love that song.
You know? So, or By the Time I Get to Phoenix.
By the Time I Get to Phoenix, yeah.
And so he's got, you know, when you hear it, if you just like Google Jimmy Webb and then listen to his most famous songs, you'll feel like you hear like a thread. It's not that they all sound the same, but you're like, yeah, Jimmy Webb, that's Jimmy Webb lyric, and that's a Jimmy Webb, like, really unusual chord progressions. To me, that Wichita Lineman's a little bit like when you did the Duran Duran song and talked about how do you take a really kind of sophisticated chord progression and put a great melody over it? And
oh, yeah.
One of those examples.
Definitely. Yeah,
Anyway.
I have a very kind of very loose connection to Glenn Campbell, extremely loose connection. Years ago, I think back in 2013, I recorded my last, I guess, album of original songs. And it's crazy that it's been that long. And the guy that mixed it was working with Glenn Campbell on his, I guess, his final, if not, maybe it's not his final album, but one of his last ones. And he recorded this song that he didn't write called The Ghosts on the Canvas. You ever heard that?
Actually, I think I have, but I wouldn't know it well enough to like spot it in a crowd right now. But
It's so great. Sean says, I see under Kevin's channel only 2 are watching versus Kevin's there are 12 watching. I'm assuming he meant under my channel there are 2 watching and under Steve's channel there are 12 watching. Not weird. Steve has a lot more, and I mean a lot more followers than I do. So
I don't know. First of all, it's important to understand we have a lot of crossover fans.
Yeah.
Secondly,
Yeah.
it's important to understand that Kevin plays way more in-person gigs than I do now, and I play a lot more online gigs than he does now.
That's all right. It's okay. You don't need to.
I know, but I'm
Steve.
just saying, like, that's not. It's a little bit deceptive.
What do you got? Like 10,000 ahead of me on subscribers for YouTube? What do you got these days?
I don't know, but I'm at about 37,000, I think, right now.
Wow, really that much?
Yeah.
Oh, you're way ahead then. I think last I checked, I've been at like 19,800 and something for the past like 5 years.
Yeah, but the thing about YouTube subscribers is it doesn't guarantee they're all going to see it. It's just like, really, it's like if you're not doing this regularly, then they don't necessarily
it drops off, and I don't do it
show up in
regularly.
their algorithm.
Right, exactly. All right, well, I'm going to do an Elton song that I've always loved. One of my favorites from him. I have a lot of favorites, but this is probably one of the earliest, if not the earliest memory I have of hearing Elton John as a kid. And this is a song that came out in I think the early 1990s.
92.
And it's funny you say that because back in 92, I was 6 years old. And it's one of these things I vividly remember. We had just gone through a horrible hurricane, and we had to move out of our house. And we were living at our grandparents' house while our house was being rebuilt. And my grandparents had this old, like, built-in radio on the wall, like radio/intercom. Remember those?
Oh,
Steve?
yeah.
And I even at 6, remember hearing this song playing on that radio. It was this song, and it was Under the Bridge by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I remember them both.
Nice.
So, anyways.
Yes, I will share some thoughts on this one too, but I'm going to let you play it first. All right, I'll get me out of here.
Saw you dancing out the ocean, running fast along the sand, spirit born of earth and water, fire flying from your hands. In the instant that you love someone, in the second that the hammer hits, reality runs up your spine, and the pieces finally fit. And all I ever needed was the one, like freedom fields where our horses run, where stars collide, like you and I. No shadows block the sun. You're all I ever needed. Ooh, baby, you're the one. There are caravans we follow, drunken nights in dark hotels, when chances breathe between the silence, where sex and love no longer gel. For each man at his time, his king, until he walks along the beach and sees his future in the water, a long lost heart within his reach.
One of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, me too.
You know,
me too.
I would say it's not my earliest memory of hearing Elton John. Of course, I don't know how many years I have on you. It's about a decade, I think.
10 more years and 10,000 more subscribers.
That must be
Or
it.
no, 15,000.
Yeah, how old are you now?
I'm 38.
All right, so I have 8 years.
All right.
On you. So I was, but that's substantial when you're talking about a 6-year-old. Because I was 14.
Right. At that age, there's a big difference every year.
Right, but I would say it's the first song that I remember hearing after I got serious about being a musician, because that happened for me in 1990. That's when I kind of discovered Billy Joel, and so I was on a Billy Joel kick for a while, which I'm still on. But Elton made his, that was the thing that then was on the radio and on MTV, or not MTV, but VH1, and I really liked. I thought the piano part and the chord progression is just
amazing.
Nothing sounds like that.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like I've never heard another song like it.
It's one of those things where you play those chords just on their own without the context of the rest of it. It sounds off. You play this, it doesn't work on its own. You got to hear the rest of it.
Yeah, although what I love about that, though, is I love tension, release.
Right.
So I just think it's a brilliant piece of writing and
amazing.
And have you ever seen him do it live?
He usually, at least the last decade, I believe he would really only do it live on his solo shows, and I never went to one of those. I went to a bunch full band shows, even a couple appearances on late night shows. I went to tapings of those, but I don't think I've heard him play that live.
One of the great pleasures for me in my life was when I went to the first round of face-to-face concerts.
Yeah.
In 1994, I was 16.
That was the first year I think they did it, right?
Yeah. In 1994, I was 16. I was about to turn 16 in that November, but I was probably 15 when it happened in the summertime there. And, we were only 2 years away from the one album dropping. And it was The Lion King was surging at the top of everything. And they had not yet put out Made in England. That would come out in 95.
Right.
And so, obviously, they didn't play Circle of Life, but Can You Feel the Love Tonight was like the biggest song in the world at that time because The Lion King was massively successful.
Yep. And,
but The One, and he played 2 songs from The One at that show, so one of them was the one you just played, and the other one was Simple Life. And I won't break, and I won't bend.
Yeah.
Someday soon we'll celebrate. And
wouldn't he open the show with that song?
Not
on that tour.
I saw him.
No,
possibly, but I don't know. I think when he was on the One tour, at least in the United States leg, on the European leg, like when they made a video of him from Barcelona, he opened with "Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me." But
okay, yeah, there was a tour. It wasn't the face-to-face tour, but it was the same. It was during that time. I don't know if it was the One or if it was Made in England, where the concert starts. There are these drapes that are covering the stage. And then, does that song start with like not a harmonica, but like a weird?
Yeah.
Yes. So then, it starts with that, and then those curtains get sucked up into whatever mechanism they were on, and they reveal the stage, and then he opens with that. I'm almost sure that's the song, but I'm not certain.
I haven't seen one where that was the one he opened with. I saw one that fits that description where he opened with "I'm Still Standing," and he was wearing this like white and black checkered suit, which was pretty awesome.
Can I address something in the comments 1 second?
Yeah.
First of all, thank you, Ruth Ann and Bill and Kim. Appreciate it. Bill, okay, can you pull up Sean's latest comment?
This?
Yeah, so, Steve, you know who Jordan Rudess is?
I do not.
He is the keyboard player genius for Dream Theater, which is, believe it or not, one of my all-time favorite bands that I have been religiously following for the past 23 years. And I've gone to almost all of their tours, and they are a progressive metal band. And this guy, Jordan Rudess, is an unbelievable piano player, keyboard player, songwriter, just a genius. So check him out. Sean and Bill, that's cool that you guys know who that is and you've been watching him and stuff. So anyways, go on with what you were saying, Steve.
Nice. Well, I was just saying that was so I got to see him do those two songs because they would play Simple Life, and then that immediately goes into the one, just like
Right.
it is on the album. So,
Oh, okay. It is. That's the way it is on there.
so. And I wanted to say, hello, Ruth. Good to see you. It's been a while.
Yeah.
All right. So, what am I going to do next? So I'm going to stick with Jimmy Webb here for another round. This one is this one's a song that he put out in 1978, and then Glenn Campbell recorded it, but the record label wouldn't let him release it as a single. And he wanted to.
Yeah.
So it kind of just laid dormant, and no one heard this song except for industry insiders for like, I don't know, 6-7 years. And then this country group got together, which the super group got formed by Johnny Cash and Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson and Kristofferson got together, and they called themselves the Highwaymen.
Yeah.
And they recorded this song, which is called The Highwayman.
Cool.
And they had a #1 country hit with it. But to me, this is just like a really clever, this is one of those, people ask me, do you like country music? I'm like, I just like great songs. And this is a great song. It's a really interesting idea for a song. Oh, and I just wanted to say, I wanted to acknowledge this comment real quick. I don't mean to be all over the place, but Dan wrote, he said, hauntingly beautiful song. Thanks for playing. Funny note about romanticizing blue-collar telephone linemen. It works. Yeah, Dan, and I think that's what I took away from the song that I like so much is like there's so many great things to write songs about, and it's like as a writer myself now, I'm like, what am I missing that's right in front of my face that could be a great story? Because the story, like he was driving down the road in like rural Kansas and saw telephone lines and thought, there's a story there. Someone's got to be maintaining these. And that's how that thing came about. And this is a really cool song, too. So I want to be more mindful of that in my own writing. So I'm going to do kind of my own version of the Highwaymen, of the Highwayman, as made famous by the Highwaymen supergroup.
All right.
Let me find the lyrics here. I was a highwayman. Along the coach roads I did ride, with sword and pistol by my side. Many a young maid lost her baubles to my trade. Many a soldier shed his lifeblood on my blade. Bastards hung me in the spring of 25, and I am still alive. I was a sailor, and I was born upon the tide. With the sea I did abide. Sailed a schooner around the Horn of Mexico. When the ba 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 ba. I fly a starship on the universe divide. When I reach the other side, I'll find a place to rest my spirit if I can. Perhaps I might become a highwayman again. Or I might simply be a single drop of rain, but I will remain. And I'll be back again and again and again, again and again and again and again. Ba ba ba, ba 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 ba. I'll be back again and again, my friend. I'll be back again. 'Cause I was a highwayman.
Nice.
Thank you. Kind of
Yeah, I didn't know that
there
one.
for a minute.
I didn't know that song.
You know, it's another one of those like cinematic, ethereal things. But I just love, I don't know, Jimmy Webb just sort of has that going on in all of his songs.
Cool. I like it. I want to comment on another thing. I can't pull it up here, but back to the nerdy Dream Theater stuff. Sean said his favorite release was Octavarium. And I have to agree, it's one of the greatest albums ever made and the best album from Dream Theater in my opinion. So Sean, we're on the same page there. And Bill, how'd you get to work with Jordan Rudess? That's awesome. I want to hear more about that.
Hi, Cora. Thanks for joining us. All right.
Seeing what he wrote. Who's That's all right. Sean wrote, thanks, Kevin. All right. So I was going to do either a song from the 90s. I was just listening to an interview with Pearl Jam, and I happen to really love Pearl Jam. Are you a fan, Steve?
Pearl Jam?
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't call myself a fan, but I am of that kind of music. I think higher of them than I do other people.
Who are like the other people in that grunge scene?
Yeah. Here's my thing. When Eddie Vedder came out and took his singing voice and stuck it in the back of his throat and didn't move his mouth to enunciate, and so it was like here's Eddie Vedder. You can turn any song into a Pearl Jam song. Let's take "Row, Row, Row Your Boat."
Yeah.
It's like row, row, row your boat, and then you just take it and you just row, row, row your boat gently down the stream.
Yeah, there was that kind of style of singing.
Life is but a dream.
Yeah.
When he did that, it was original. And then when every other dude came along and did exactly the same thing, it was not, and I got a little annoyed with it.
With that
Pearl
whole thing.
Jam's a legit group.
Oh yeah, amazing song. So I was gonna either do that or I was gonna do a Coldplay song, which I always love to play, but that's not one of their more popular ones. Which one do you want to hear? You want to hear a Pearl Jam one or a Coldplay song or neither? Neither is actually not an option. I'm gonna do one or the other.
Are you talking to me or are you talking to them?
I'm talking to you.
Sorry, this helps me think.
That's all right. You can do that as long as just do that the rest of the show.
Exactly. Pearl Jam.
Pearl Jam. Okay. So this is another one of those songs that this actually has a weird memory to this one. First time I heard this, it's actually really sad, was the space shuttle Columbia had exploded. And I think that was, 2003, if I remember correctly?
I don't know, man.
You don't remember all these horrible things that had happened?
I remember it happening. It's just that, like, the Challenger is what happened when I was in elementary school. And
right,
so
and that was
the
definitely...
one I can remember.
Yeah, and that was more dramatic because everyone was watching that live.
Well, but I can remember the date because it happened when
what was the date on that? It was March of 86, right? What was the
Yeah.
exact date?
Well, I don't remember the date. I just mean I remember the year that it.
Because I was born.
I don't remember what.
I was born on March 4th of 86. So I definitely didn't see the Challenger.
And immediately, all of the people on the Challenger said, "I'm not sharing a world with this." That's a terrible joke. I shouldn't have said that. I apologize.
So
I'm actually a very nice person. It's awful. I'm ashamed of myself. Okay.
all right.
You go before I say something that's going to destroy my brand.
So anyways, I was in school, and I think I was junior maybe, and they had the morning announcements at our high school, and they did this montage of what had happened with the Columbia, just kind of saying, this is what has happened. And they put this song behind it for some reason, and it worked. The music worked and the feeling worked, but the lyrics have nothing to do with that. You would think they'd, do something like Rocket Man or, whatever, Space Oddity or whatever, anything like that, but not a song like this. So anyways, this is a Pearl Jam song called Better Man.
Okay, my friend.
Also starts with like one key on the bass and a different key on the right hand here. Waiting, watching the clock, it's 4 o'clock, it's got to stop, tell me, take no more. She practices her speech as he opens the door. She rolls over, pretends to sleep as she looks her over. She lies and says she's in love with him, can't find a better man. She dreams in color, she dreams in red, can't find a better man. She can't find a better man, can't find a better man. Talking to herself, there's no one else who needs to know. She tells herself memories back when she was smooth and strong and waited for the world to come along. Swear she knew and now she swears he's gone. She lies and says she's in love with him, can't find a better man. She dreams in color, she dreams in red, can't find a better man, can't find a better man. She loved a frog in my throat during that. It's the worst when that happens.
Well, honestly, I didn't notice, except for when I coughed. But
yeah,
I actually thought that was smooth as hell.
That is the worst when that happens.
Yeah, I sometimes have that happen. Sometimes I feel like I've warmed up properly and I'm not going to have any issues, and then I let one loose and
Yeah, that's something I really got to do is warm up.
yeah.
I don't do that, and I should before I permanently mess up my voice.
Yeah. Well,
Robson wants to know if I know.
Tune, man. I'm going to have to check that one out.
Oh, yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Robson wants to know if I know any gospel songs. I don't believe so. And Sean said that he used to play Better Man in his previous band. Doing gospel blues.
Something like that. Well, that's way fancier than anything I can come up with.
No, it isn't. It's in the key of C. It almost doesn't count.
So, going on with this thing, I'm not going to do another Jimmy Webb song, but we did talk about how that song had been a hit single for the Highwaymen. And the Highwaymen included a guy named Kristofferson, who started his career with a string of very, very successful songs that he did not record. And then he eventually recorded them, but other people had big hits with him. Johnny Cash had some big hits, and some other people, but one that really sticks out to me was made most famous. It was cut by everybody. I mean, like, I don't know. There's probably like well over 500 covers of this, but the most famous one was actually by Janis Joplin, and it's just a really cool tune. And it was because somebody at the publishing company that Kristofferson was signed under said, "Hey, how about you write a song for my secretary?" And he said, "Well, what's her name?" Said, Bobby McGee, McKee.
It doesn't quite sound as good.
But
what it ended up as.
He misheard it.
Oh, wow.
He heard it as Bobby McGee, and so he was like, "Okay, that sounds fine." So he wrote this thing, and of course the name Bobby can be Roberta and it can be Robert, and so this thing is sort of an androgynous, can work. It's a unisex name, and he came up with this really interesting tune that I love the lyrics. It's not musically very sophisticated, but there are phrases in this. I'm gonna do the song, and then I'm gonna point out a couple of phrases that as a songwriter I'm like, I would kill to come up with a sentence like that at some point in time. I wouldn't actually kill, but I would come close. So I'm going to do Me and Bobby McGee.
Cool.
You find the words here, of course. All right. I'm not going to try and do it like Janis Joplin. I'm just going to kind of do my own little thing with it, but busted flat in Baton Rouge, headed for the trains, feeling nearly faded as my jeans. Bobby thumbed the diesel down just before it rained, took us all the way to New Orleans. So I took my harpoon out of my dirty red bandana, and I was blowing sad while Bobby sang the blues. With them windshield wipers slapping time, and clapping hands, we finally sang up every song that driver knew. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. Nothing ain't worth nothing, but it's free. Feeling good was easy, Lord, when Bobby sang the blues. Buddy, that was good enough for me. It's good enough for me and Bobby McGee. From the coal mines of Kentucky to the California sun, Bobby shared the secrets of my soul, standing right beside me, Lord, through everything I've done. Every night she kept me from the cold. Then somewhere near Salinas, Lord, I'd let her slip away. She was looking for the love I hope she'll find. I'd trade all my tomorrows for a single yesterday, holding Bobby's body close to mine. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. Nothing ain't worth nothing, but it's free. Feeling good was easy, Lord, when Bobby sang the blues. Good enough is good enough for me. Good enough for me and Bobby McGee. All right. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. Nothing ain't worth nothing, but it's free. Feeling good was easy, Lord, when Bobby sang the blues. Buddy, that was good enough for me. Good enough for me and Bobby McGee. Buddy, that was good enough for me. Good enough for me and Bobby McGee. Thank you.
Nice. That was cool.
I love, like, it would not, because I've never worn a bandana in my life, but when he says, I pulled my harpoon out of my dirty red bandana, that is such a great phrase. But my absolute favorite, like the one that just makes me like want to like crawl under a blanket in a closet and hide from the world forever because of the terror, how shallow of a lyricist I've been, is when he says, somewhere near Salinas, Lord, I let her slip away, searching for the love I hope she'll find. And I'd trade all my tomorrows for a single yesterday, holding Bobby's body close to mine. I mean, there's a million ways to communicate that, but he found those words to say it.
Yeah.
And
I always saw it.
pissed. Why haven't I come up with anything like that, Kevin?
You're preaching in the choir here. I mean, that's why I haven't written anything in a very, very long time. I always thought that she wrote that. I didn't know that. I'm not, well educated in Janis Joplin's music and the songs and who wrote them and that kind of stuff. But the thing with that song is it's kind of been not ruined, but There are certain songs at gigs that I've done over the years where people who want to come up and sing along, I give them a wireless microphone. And there have been so many times at that song where a girl will want to come up and sing it who actually thinks she's, as good as Janis Joplin. And there's one thing to come up and just have fun, and then another time someone to come up and they're like, oh, I know how to sing. I really know how to sing. And then they come up, and I have many years of traumatic experience of people just spitting on me while they're singing the song like that.
Well, see, Kevin, this is your problem. I want to give you a pro tip here. As if you don't have enough experience.
Yeah.
But I'm just laughing because I used to do stuff like that. And then I listened to a whole bunch of John Denver live recordings, like bootlegs and all kinds of stuff. And I saw him once. And I noticed that he had a special thing that he would do when people would get a little too aggressive and play this one, play this one, play this one. And I started using this same approach when someone wanted to come and sing something. He would smile and laugh and go, my show.
Right. Well, but I can't do that at a hired gig,
You'd be surprised what they'll let you get away with.
Yeah.
Unless it's the person writing the check. Usually they're actually pretty happy that you didn't let that jack.
There's a fine line. And over the years, I get to kind of pick and choose a little bit more the kind of gigs that I am expecting them to be. And usually they are what I'm looking for. But every once in a while, things will get kind of rowdy. And then you have someone come up and sing that.
I'm not mansplaining.
You're just trying to end
I'm just entertaining the troops. You know what you're doing. By God, you've logged many more gigs than I have, especially in the last 5 years, because you're still like a road hog. But yeah, I just always like that. He's like, now you guys, this is my show.
There have been certain instances where I'm like, at least with a look of leave me alone, but I have to, really come off in a positive, engaging way.
I bet you really love it when they want to use your microphone.
Oh, no, that doesn't happen. That never happens. Never. I have people, they'll come and just assume they can take it, and I'm like, hold it right there. And then I take out, this disgusting wireless that I have just for guests. I put on my gloves and get tongs and pick it up out of the bag and pass it to them.
I played briefly in a group with a guy who was the lead singer. Of course, the band fell apart very quickly because he was a highly unstable human being, and he was the leader. But it was when I was just kind of a little pup coming up. And we played probably 3 gigs total before the whole thing fell apart. But at one of them, someone came up and goes, let me sing one. And he grabs the guy's mic and he goes, hey, you want to use my mic, then I have to sleep with your wife.
Is that what he said?
Yeah,
That's
except
funny.
He said it in a less artful way.
Right. He was being serious.
He was being serious, and he also did not I use the okay for broadcast television.
Sure. At one time, somebody went to grab my harmonica that was hanging off of the. Really?
No.
Yeah. Anyways,
go on.
I can't keep going down this road because I actually do want to keep getting hired. So in case anybody sees this. Anyways, I'm gonna do a Coldplay song that I've always loved. That's to me underrated. They don't even like it that much, and it came out after their huge album "Rush of Blood to the Head," which had Clocks on it, which was a huge hit. And this song was kind of, I think, I'm not sure if this is what I'd listen to it. I'm like, oh, that kind of sounds, the riff kind of sounds like Clocks. And it almost sounds like maybe they were trying to recapture the magic of that song. Maybe that's why they don't like it. And it's similar-ish, but I much prefer this song, and I love to play this song. And this is called the Speed of Sound.
All right. Here we go.
I get in, before it starts, before I begin? How long before you decide, before I know what it feels like? Where do I go? If you never try, then you never know. How long do I have to climb up on the side of this mountain of mine? Look up at night, planets are moving at the speed of light. Come up in the trees, every chance that you get is a chance you seize. How long am I gonna stand with my head stuck under the sand? I'll stop before I can stop, before I see things the right way up. All that noise, all that sound, all those places I got found, and birds go flying at the speed of sound to show you how it all began. Birds came flying from beyond the ground. If you can see it, then you'd understand. Ideas that you never find, all the inventors can never design. The buildings that you put up, Japan and China, all lit up. The sign I couldn't read, all the lights I could see. Some things I have to believe, others are puzzles, puzzle me. All that noise, all that sound, all those places I got found, and birds came flying at the speed of sound to show you how it all began. Birds came flying from beyond the ground. If you can see it, then you'd understand. All those signs, I knew what they meant. Some things you can invent. Some get made and some get sent. Ooh, birds came flying at the speed of sound to show you how it all began. Birds came flying from beyond the ground. You can see it, then you understand. I can't hear you. You're on mute.
I wasn't saying anything important anyway. I need, I need to just, block off a weekend sometime and just, listen to nothing but Coldplay for, 36 hours and just get familiar with it. Because it's just, it's one of those bands, people ask about it all the time, and I've just never taken the time to go there.
Yeah, I mean, they're incredible. And still, I've been to a lot of concerts in my life, and a lot of them. And they have the absolute best production and show every time that I see them. I'm just completely floored. So, yeah, definitely recommend checking them out as if they're like a new band or something. You know, they've been around 25 years.
Yeah, but you have to understand. Like, let me just tell everybody this. Here's what happened to me. Kevin was a little kid in the '90s. I was a little kid in the '80s, and I discovered music very early, like he did, and I listened to the radio a lot, which I assume you also did. Is that correct?
Yep.
And I was mesmerized, and so I absolutely loved what was on the radio in the '80s, and the '70s, since they had just happened, were also peppered in to that. You know, like we had kind of an easy listening station in Ogallala, and so where I lived, and so there was a lot of that, like singer-songwriter stuff, all throughout the '70s, getting into the playlist, and I just, the '80s were just an absolute joy. I could turn on the radio, and at any given time, I was going to love whatever was on. And music changed so much in its sound and production in about 1992 that I just was pissed, and I didn't give the '90s a fair shake when I was in the '90s, and so I'm under familiar with that because I was a teenager and it should have been the music that defined my life, but I just started buying CDs of older stuff and listening to it.
And I have the exact same story, just 8 years
You, it was the
ahead.
2000s.
Yeah, I think it's probably happens with most people where there's a shift that happens that they start to, I guess, kind of lose touch with what's current. And it definitely happened to me in probably the mid 2000s. I mean, there are exceptions, and there are certain songs that I'll hear today.
It's not like I don't know anything from the '90s.
Yeah. And I also then started going backwards. Maybe it's because we're musicians, but I think, I mean, everybody said, everybody's parents will say, these songs, they're not like they used to make them. This is not like how it used to be, and everybody has that for their own generation. But yeah, there was definitely a notable shift that happened for me also.
For me, it never had anything to do with my age either. It was more like, but I do think this plays into it, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners are this way too. But when you are a professional musician, one thing is I listen to music differently than most people that I know.
Yeah,
I don't,
exactly.
I don't play music in the background while I do stuff. That's distracting to me.
Yeah, same. That's so funny.
I can't. If I have to accomplish something, I cannot have music going. So, and when I listen, I want to hear every little nook and cranny. Like I don't.
Yep.
I have to turn it up loud enough that I can hear. I want to hear the bass line. I want to guess what kind of effects they're putting on things. I want to hear the harmonies. I want to hear the parts. And so maybe it's because I'm trying to learn it. Maybe it's not. But I think
it's also because you're kind of fantasizing about being able to do that on that level.
Or at least at the very least, I'm thinking if I were going to do this, how would I do it? I mean, so when the '90s came along, for one thing, when the grunge thing happened, is that the Nirvana just like basically assassinated the keyboard player in the group.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I was like, we went from these really lush, like amazing David Foster like arrangements of pop songs with many, many layers of keyboards and stuff, and then we went to this sort of stripped down, one guitar, one bass, one drummer.
Sorry to interrupt you. My dog's about to hit my tripod. Ron, out of the way. Get out of there. Keep talking. I got to move him because he's going to move the camera.
Yeah, so it was just, it just changed. And it's not that it was bad. It just changed. And I was so dialed in to what I was doing that I just wanted to go farther with that. And so I kind of checked out most of the way through the 90s. And then ended up learning a lot of 90s country in the decade of the 2000s because I was starting to work a lot as a musician. And I was in Nebraska, and they wanted a lot of country. So that was kind of that was the thing. So I have a real deficit just of of knowledge of great music from that decade. So it's kind of fun to work with Kevin and hear, the highlights, and to know where to go searching.
And I remember doing gigs when stuff from the Coldplay was considered new. And all of a sudden it's like, wow, that's, 20 years have passed since that. Yeah. Ron would like to say hello. He's a pain in the ass, and he did, in fact, hit the tripod. I don't know if you saw.
Hi, bud. It's okay. We'll forgive anything from a dog.
Yeah.
Anything. So the one that I want to do next is this is a tune that I saw performed at the Bluebird Cafe in Nashville. And anyone who hasn't been there, if you love great songs and songwriters and you want to hear where songs begin, this was an absolutely incredible experience. They call it Songwriters in the Round. They do it once or twice a week. And they just bring in hit songwriters.
Is that on Broadway?
No, it's in Nashville. Well, I don't know what street it's on.
Broadway is like that street with all the bars with the live music, one after the next one.
It's a little farther removed from all of
Is it? Oh, okay.
But it's this legendary, and it's a dive. It's a shithole of a place, but it's like
those are the best.
All of the and it's like where Garth Brooks discovered the guy who wrote The Dance, and all this stuff. And anyway, so they had 4 hit songwriters, and they just sit in the middle of the room, and they trade off and each play, and they got nothing but a guitar or nothing but a piano, and they're one voice. And it was the best 2 hours of music that I had heard in 10 years at that point. And one of the guys there was, some of them had been around for a while, but one of them was this guy named Dave Berg, who was hotter than a firecracker in July at that time. Had 4 #1 hits on the country charts at that time, and one of them was this song that I want to play. I'd never heard it because I don't really listen to country that much, but
I think you do.
No, I honestly don't.
No?
Don't. Like I went back and learned country music because it's what I needed to be able to get jobs.
Right.
But I don't program it when I'm just listening. I'm folk, yes, but not really country. And but this was such an amazing song, and the lyrics absolutely knocked me on my ass. And of course, it was just a perfect melody to go along with it. And it was picked up by a band called Emerson Drive, and it hit #1. And I got to see Dave Berg, the writer, actually play this with nothing but himself and a guitar, and it's stayed with me ever since. So this is called Moments. And listen closely to the lyrics, and listen for the twist comes at the end. Let's see here. I think I'm in the wrong key here. Coming to the end of a long, long one. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Here we go. I was coming to the end of a long, long walk when a man crawled out of a cardboard box under the East Street Bridge. Followed me onto it, went out halfway across with that homeless shadow tagging along. So I dug for some change, wouldn't need it anyway. I took it looking just a bit ashamed. Said, you know, I haven't always been this way. Had my moments, days in the sun, moments, second to none, moments when I knew I did what I thought I couldn't do. Like that plane ride coming home from the war that summer when my son was born, and the memories like a cold so warm, cold wind can't get through. Now you might not know it. I've had my moments. Well, I stood there trying to find my nerve, wondering if a single soul on earth would carry it all. Miss me when I'm gone. That old man just kept hanging around, looking at me, looking down. I think he recognized that look in my eyes. Standing with him there, I felt ashamed. He said, you know, I haven't always been this way. No, I've had my moments, days in the sun, moments I was second to none, moments when I knew I'd done what I thought I couldn't do. Like the day I walked away from the wine for a woman who became my wife, and a love that, when it was right, would always see me through. Looking at me now, you might not know it, but I've had my moments. Know somewhere around a trash can fire tonight, that old man tells his story one more time. And he says, I've had my moments, days in the sun, moments I was second to none, moments when I knew I'd done what I thought I couldn't do. Like that cool night on the East Street Bridge when a young man almost ended it. I was right there, wasn't scared a bit, and I helped to pull him through. Looking at me now, you might not know it. Oh, looking at me now, you might not know it. I've had my moments. I've had my moments. I've had my moments.
Nice. Nice one.
Thank you.
Yeah. Never heard that one either.
Oh, I hadn't heard it the night that I went there, and it had apparently been a #1 hit. But I just, that turnaround where he's like, yeah, that old man's telling a story about how he stopped me from killing myself. Just like,
Right. Yeah, it's a good one. I'll check that out. Has
Yeah,
my
it's-
volume gotten lower by any chance?
not to me.
Oh, I think maybe I have things too loud, and my ears are getting tired. Maybe.
You're having a temporary threshold shift.
Yeah. Don wants to know if I know Coloratura by Coldplay. I haven't learned it. No, that's their like 10-minute epic on their last album that came out. Just a couple other comments before I got to play my last song and get out of here that I wanted to respond to. I saw something, but maybe not. I saw some requests, and thanks for the requests. But we're just kind of playing whatever we feel like playing, right? That's the
purpose
point.
Anyone who hasn't seen these shows, this Talkin Piano Man series, we do this about once a month or so. The purpose of it is for us to have a conversation about music, and we never know what we're going to talk about exactly. Sometimes we talk about gear, sometimes we talk about crafting of songs or recording, but we talk about things, and we bring songs that maybe other people, maybe our audiences wouldn't necessarily think to ask us to play, but that we just have a lot of fondness and love for that we want to share.
Probably many that they haven't even heard. I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't even heard a lot of these songs that you're playing.
Exactly. So that's kind of what this show's about. Our regular live streaming stuff is where we whore out and just sort of play what you want to hear.
Yeah. I refer to these shows as it's a success if by the end there's 0 people watching. 'Cause
Yeah, whenever we get to talking in our regular chat about something that starts to get a little bit into the weeds and a little bit boring, Kevin will immediately go, "This has to be a topic of conversation in the next Talkin' Piano."
yeah, what was it about? Oh, wait, I think we were talking about your camera situation last time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to spring that up because I only have
No.
a few more minutes.
And it honestly would drive everybody out.
It would. Yeah. Okay, so this last one, I've been on a Fleetwood Mac kick lately, and I love Fleetwood Mac. Yeah. And I've been playing,
Did you get the signal? Was I too subtle?
I saw the signal. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
I
You
appreciate it.
understood. It was
Yes,
approval.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When I have my son Ray in the car, sometimes it can be a challenge to keep him entertained if he's sitting in the back. So we'll put on music, and I'll say to Ray, this song has this sound in it, and he's really kind of. I got him to listen to this Tusk from Fleetwood Mac, not the whole crazy album, but the one song that has a marching band because he loves marching bands. Or he's like, "Oh, Ray, there's the sound of an elephant at the beginning of this song. You can kind of hear it in the background." And now he actually loves these songs. He's listening to Tusk and The Chain. And anyways, I'm not going to do a Fleetwood Mac song. But the reason that I bring that up is because, a few years ago, they threw Lindsey Buckingham out of the band. Yeah, which is nuts.
They didn't.
Right.
She did.
And they, quote, replaced him with, what's his name, Neil Finn?
Yeah, from Crowded House.
From Crowded
Who I
House.
love, by the way.
And he's
I have
fantastic.
I have nothing against him.
Yeah, he's just not Lindsey Buckingham.
I don't like him in Fleetwood Mac as much
Right.
as I like Lindsey Buckingham, but I love him in his own right.
I sure
You're
do.
You're going to play my favorite Crowded House song, aren't you?
I guess so.
Yes.
All right, so here it is. This is, I forgot what the name was. Oh, yeah. Don't Dream It's Over. Is that the one, Steve? Steve just left.
Yes, that's my favorite. Okay, now carry on.
There is freedom within, there is freedom without. Try to catch the deluge in a paper cup. There's a battle ahead, many battles are lost, but you never see the end of the road that you've been traveling with me. Hey now, don't dream it's over. Hey now, when the world comes in, they come to build a wall between us. We know they won't win. Now I'm towing my car, there's a hole in the roof. My possessions are causing me suspicion, but there's no proof. In the paper today, tales of war and of waste, but you turn right over to the TV page. Hey now, don't dream it's over. Hey now, when the world comes in, they come to build a wall between us. We know they won't win. walking again. There's a beat of a drum, and I'm counting the steps to the door of your heart. Only shadows ahead, barely clearing the roof. Get to know the feeling, liberation and release. Hey now, don't dream it's over. Hey now, when the world comes in, they come to build a wall between us. We know they won't win. Don't ever let them win.
Love that song. Love your voice with that song.
Thank you.
I would only dream of singing it that well.
I've got to run out of here, Steve, as I usually do on your last song.
No, I don't have another song because I started tonight, so we've each done 4, and I think that's probably a good place to wrap it up.
I want to say hi to my dear friend Les, who just joined, but I'm heading out of here. So Les Cutler there, a huge Billy Joel fan. Les is one of my best friends' dad, and he's introduced me to a lot of cool music over the years. So thanks, Les.
Now it's time to say goodbye.
Yes.
To all our company. M-I-C.
On that note,
K-E-Y.
bye, everyone.
Bye, Kevin.
See ya.
M-O-U-S-E. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Hope you enjoyed our strange selections tonight. And as always, we wish you all the very best. And since Kevin's not here for an official sign-out, I'll just do the one that I usually do, which is to say, if you're a musician, remember, if you're not having fun when you're making music, you're doing it wrong. And for everybody, give as much love as you can to as many people as you can, as often as you can. We don't know when this one comes to an end, guys, so don't have any regrets. Leave it all on the field. Thanks a lot. We always have so much fun, and we appreciate that there's someone to play for. So take care, everyone.